and you said no one can catch up to Tesla, not at this time. The way they're making profit, you said GM won't be profitable. Is there room for all of these names to do well?
The short answer is no. Tesla's still going to have a 10x advantage.
Steve Vesley is a former Tesla board member. He joined the board back in 2007, and this interview was actually pretty juicy, so let's see what he just said today.
Thanks for being with us. I was looking at some of your stats where the sales, while auto sales were down, EV sales jumped over 80%. So that tells me there's demand, right? I mean, where do we stand in the world of EVs and the demand picture?
What an interesting concept, right? Generally, sales are down, but EV sales are up. Therefore, correct conclusion, there is demand. Unlike what Gordon Johnson will tell you on December 20th. He said Tesla shares will come under tremendous pressure soon. He was right. There was a lot of pressure on Tesla stock. It is up over 30% from the moment this video was recorded and published. Except he got the direction wrong, not downward pressure, upward pressure.
Well, look, there's a huge demand for EVs. And what's happening now is that Tesla has inadvertently started a price war that other automakers just weren't ready for.
Well, get ready for potential bankruptcies. They don't even make money on EVs. How can they cut prices on EVs? So they will go from losing some money to now losing a whole lot more money. That makes a lot of sense if you want to go bankrupt.
So expect to see other automakers now, Ford, others will have to follow suit, slashing prices. Great news for consumers. But here's the thing you got to think about. Tesla can afford it. They earn 15.7 thousand gross profit per vehicle they sell. And think about this, Tesla margins 5x larger than Ford, 4x larger than Toyota, 2x larger than Volkswagen, and General Motors is losing money on every EV. So the question is, great news for consumers, what does this do for the auto company's bottom line? And the big issue here, if you're an investor, especially for Ford, are the trucking wars, because you've got to hand it to Ford. 42 years in a row, biggest selling vehicle in America, Ford F-150 Lightning, great truck, but they only sold 13.2 thousand units last year. Rivian, great truck, they only sold 24,000 units. Tesla's about to start selling their Cybertrucks in Q3 from a massive new plant in Austin. And if they sell even a fraction of the 1.4 million pre-orders, that could really cut into the Ford Auto Company's revenues and profits. So Ford's going to need to buckle up. Let's hope they can hold on to market share. We'll see.
Yep, we'll see how Tesla inevitably dominates everyone.
I mean, that doesn't even remote. I knew that the Cybertruck had all those pre-orders, over 1 million. You said 1.4, you know, I heard 1.1, whatever. It's well over 1 million. It's a crazy number.
After seeing everyone's estimates for the number of Cybertruck pre-orders, the most accurate estimate that I have seen is this host's estimate. A crazy number. That's the best way to put it.
You have to put a small amount down, so, you know, we'll see whether or not the people actually commit when it comes time. But 1 million versus the competition of the F-150 Lightning, which is a beauty, but you're talking 15,000. Did you just say 15,000 sold? Is that right?
This reminds me of some of the ridiculous points that Gordon Johnson has made before, and the hosts just cannot help but reveal how ridiculous he is being. Well, in this case, Gordon Johnson is Ford, not really making many electric vehicles.
I said 15,000. Now, the big question is, what do they grow to? And I have a feeling they will ramp up quickly. They should be at 50 or 100,000. But the sheer size and magnitude of Tesla's facility in Texas, combined with their expertise in manufacturing, and by the way, lower battery costs, I think they could blow by the others. And again, no one has been able to break into the Ford 150s market
yet. And the Cybertruck, I believe, will outsell the F-150 by a huge, let me correct that, by a crazy number, because that's the, the number of reservations that the Cybertruck has. And remember, trucks, and specifically the F-150, For Ford, that's like, what, the biggest profit center for Ford? So if Tesla starts taking away that from Ford, what is going to happen to Ford? What do you think? They are funding their electric vehicles with the profits that they make from internal combustion engine vehicles. And if they can't do that anymore, it could be it. It could be the end.
And you said no one can catch up to Tesla, not at this time. The way they're making profit, you said GM won't be profitable for years to come, maybe till 2025. Tesla had the ability to cut the prices. Now we see the Mach-E over at Ford being cut. So what's the final takeaway here? Is there room for all of these names to do well?
The short answer is no.
I love this straightforwardness. Now, let's hear the long answer.
Look, the auto industry contracted 8% last year. At precisely the same time, you see 22, 25 new electric vehicle makers coming into the sector. There is going to be a shakeout. So what everybody needs to be looking at is who is growing and who can maintain profitability. Now, Tesla did 1.3 million units sold last year compared to 60,000 for Ford, 50,000 for GM. So they're already 15x ahead. The big question is this year, based on Tesla making the early price cuts, they look like they're going to vault ahead from 1.3 million units sold to something closer to 1.9 or 2 million units. If Ford and GM are still where I think they'll be in the 200,000 range, maybe a little north of that, Tesla's still going to have a 10x advantage. But they're no longer the major competitors.
Every time Ford and GM get mentioned, it's a little bit silly. Here are the actual competitors we should be looking at, and this will be confusing because GM is actually here. Let me explain why it's here. There's this joint venture that GM has with a Chinese company, of which GM owns a significant amount. If you are into reading about near-death experiences, well, I present to you an opportunity to experience a near-death experience yourself. The Wuling. I would never get into that car. Here is the competition to consider. In green, you will see battery electric vehicles, which is what we should really be looking at. Only, as you can see, Tesla is clearly number one, then BYD second, Volkswagen third, GM, yeah, we're not going to include you here really because you are a little bit cheating here, and then everything else is not really that significant. It's really about BYD and Volkswagen, except Germans can't even beat Tesla in their own country. Tesla tops EV registrations in Germany, beating Volkswagen. Oh, but wait, it just gets worse for Volkswagen. Tesla's EV registrations jumped nearly 50% from the January-September period last year, while Volkswagen's dropped 40% to just over 32,326, in line with a broader drop across most of the Volkswagen Group brands in Europe's biggest car market. It's not looking good for Volkswagen.
You got to look at Volkswagen. They've got major plants up and running in Europe, North America, and Asia. And the real challengers are probably the Chinese. Get used to hearing a lot about new brands like BYD and SAIC. The government's subsidizing them. They've got an advantage in the battery cost, and they're getting ready to come to Europe and North America. So get ready for the big truck smackdown and the big international car battle. This is going to be a fascinating race.
I love it. I love it so much because obviously it's fascinating. We love to see the battle. And of course, you want a fair playing field, but there's no doubt that Tesla has started early in this game and doing so well. I mean, you also have we talked about the Cybertruck. The semi-truck already has orders, too, from a lot of the big corporations. So they certainly bring a lot to the table. What about these other names? Are there some of these names abroad that you think could be formidable competitors? You mentioned BYD. I think of NIO and XPeng, and you mentioned a newer one, XAIC. What about as China sales likely to increase?
So China sales are absolutely going to increase. And again, look at the big picture here. All of a sudden, after people worried about U.S. car manufacturing prowess, you've got Tesla, number one auto seller in Australia. Tesla owning the U.S. luxury market in the U.S. for the first time in 25 years. And a U.S. brand is beating the Germans for luxury sales and the Japanese. And Tesla, the Model Y, is the single largest selling car, gas or electric, in all of Europe. This has the Europeans going crazy.
Yep. And then Tesla Model Y was the fourth best-selling vehicle in the whole world. You know, it's going to be the number one best-selling vehicle probably in 2023 this year.
But nothing stays the same in the auto industry. And China is the world's largest auto market. BYD makes great cars. They're the master at selling low end. They may be where Honda was 30 years ago in the US market, and they're good cars.
When it comes to total number of sales, China is indeed the number one country. However, US, we have cars that are quite a bit more expensive. And currently, BYD is not really competing directly with Tesla because look at the price point in RMB where BYD sells. So once Tesla releases the compact vehicle, watch out, BYD.
And they're gearing up to go international. So that's something Tesla has to be looking over its shoulder about. NIO looks pretty good. I'm a little concerned about their ability to produce vehicles profitably. And now you've got the Vietnamese maker, the first one, at an even lower cost point with VinFast opening showrooms as we speak in California. So it is a whole new world. But if you're an auto investor, it's no longer enough to know what the Japanese, the Europeans, and the Americans are doing. You need to be looking at China, and it's going to be fascinating.
Just looking at this list, you know, Germans are at least somewhere on the list. They are not too difficult to find. There's a Korean automaker right here, but Japanese automakers, where's Nissan, where's Honda, where's Toyota? I can only see Toyota, and it's right at the bottom. It's the second place from the bottom. They were supposed to be the leaders. They came out with Prius decades ago now. What happened? Certainly not ignorance and hubris.
Now, I want everybody to know, you used to sit on the board of Tesla, isn't that correct? So
That is correct.
At this point now, obviously everybody wants to know about Elon Musk. Is he still the right guy? Is he still focused on Tesla? I'd like you to answer that. As well as, where is the fair valuation of this company? There are many people who think it's fairly valued right where it is. There are some who think it's going to 500, and some well over 1,000 in the world of autonomous ride sharing. Give me an outlook and where Elon Musk fits in the picture.
Well, I was hoping you were going to ask some tougher questions. Well, let's tackle those too. First, I think Elon probably is the right guy for the job. Look, he's the father, essentially, of the global electric auto industry. He has led the field from start to finish, and he's not only developed the most innovative vehicles to date, but he's been a master at keeping costs down, bringing battery cost in-house, the first to really reap extra margins from what's called over-the-air software.
In the last few years, by the way, our Mercedes, which is supposed to have over-the-air updates, the app says that it has over-the-air updates. It had one over-the-air update to fix a recall, and it didn't work. We literally had to take the vehicle to the dealership for them to do a software update. Meanwhile, the Tesla that we drive gets an update every single month, literally.
So as long as he stays focused on Tesla, I think he'll be just fine. But focus is the key there.
The moment this gets announced, it is going to be a big day for Tesla stock.
In terms of pricing, look, there's nothing magic about electric vehicles. The whole world's going that direction. Revenues are going to go up in that area, but you've got to look at the numbers. So here's what they are. Roughly $81 billion sold last year. That's up 45% over the year before. Now that they've cut prices, I think that number is going to rise. I think Tesla's on track to go from 1.3 million units sold to very close to 2 million sold. And the average price, even though they've done a cost cut, is likely to go up because they're going to be selling Cybertrucks, which tend to be more expensive. They're going to be selling their semis as well.
I don't expect many semis or Cybertrucks delivered this year, but next year, yeah, I'm excited about that. We know that Elon Musk is aiming at producing 50,000 electric semis next year. Selling just one of these is like selling 4 Model Ys, and that will drive up the average selling price significantly.
Also, something no one looks about, and I just want to tease you with this, and we'll talk about it more in the future. Tesla also has a rapidly growing energy division where they're not just selling the power walls and the solar tiles for the roof, but they're selling 1.5 gigawatt power packs to utilities globally. So Tesla's doing something bolder, faster, bigger than just about anyone else. Stay tuned. It's going to take a while for someone to dethrone them.
Currently, you have to wait for about 2 years to get one of these mega packs, as you can see right here. That is why Tesla is building a whole new factory in Lathrop to produce these. That is just one reason why Tesla expects the energy storage business to grow faster than the auto business. Tesla increased energy storage deployments by 152% year over year in Q4. That's a lot more than the 50% year over year growth that we are expecting in the auto business for Tesla.
I like that. We're going to call them a utility company too. What did you think I was going to ask you that was going to be harder? Are you buying or selling your shares? Well, what didn't I ask?
No. Predicting Elon's next move is tough enough. One thing I can promise is it's going to be exciting, but stay tuned on the energy front, because what customers are really looking for, especially as you move to electrics, are not just a car. They're looking for a turnkey solution. And that means, can you sell me the solar panels, the power wall, and the car all together? It's a whole new mindset. Millennials, Gen Z voters get it. Tesla's out front on it. The other auto companies are going to have to move hard to catch up. Ford's already followed suit. They have a relationship with Sunrun and LG Chem, so they're providing their own turnkey solution. The other auto companies are going to have to jump into this new world. But the promise out there that Mr. Musk has offered is, come with me at Tesla, and you'll never pay a penny for electricity or gasoline again. That's a pretty powerful value proposition.
This guy just gets it. No wonder he was on the board of Tesla. And this is the buying opportunity for Tesla stock explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Postis. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.